ladies and gentlemen, my common sense fellow American, patriotic, Republicans, Democrats, center of the aisle, independents, whoever you may be, the U.S. is preparing to board ships in one of the most dangerous waterways in the world right now, the Strait of Hormuz. It is Saturday, April 18th, 7:04 p.m. Eastern Time. After Iran fired on tankers today and reasserted control of the strait, the U.S. responded and fast. They, or I should say he, the president, Donald Trump, called an emergency situation room meeting to go over the situation at hand. And as of right now, we are seeing AH-64 Apache gunships patrolling the Strait of Hormuz right now. And U.S. officials confirmed that they plan to intercept, board, and seize vehicles tied to Iran. Hasn't started happening yet, but that's what their plan of attack is, seeing how they wanted to escalate like this. So, M.A. Rothman, Iran fires on an Indian supertanker carrying 2 million barrels of Iraqi oil, forcing it to turn back from the Strait of Hormuz. An Indian-flagged VLCC supertanker was forced to reverse course after IRGC gunboats opened fire near the Strait of Hormuz. The firing was confirmed on Channel 16 Maritime Communications, which is the channel that U.S. naval military said that's the channel that they would be broadcasting on, and that's what people needed to listen to. The international distress and calling frequency that every vessel monitors. Think about what Iran just did. India has been one of Iran's few remaining trade partners, one of the only countries still buying Iranian oil when the rest of the world walked away. And the IRGC just fired on an Indian ship carrying Iraqi oil, not even Iranian cargo. This is a regime so frustrated and desperate that its military is now attacking the ships of countries it needs as allies. They've been doing that this whole war. The IRGC doesn't care what Iranian government promises. They're firing on anything that moves because our four competing power centers can't agree on a single strategy. When you start shooting at your own ally ships, you haven't closed the strait. You've closed your last diplomatic runoff or off ramp, basically. When boarding operations happen in contested waterways, it doesn't come quietly. It can get really, really messy, really, really quick. So, OSINT Technical states that, this is actually from the Wall Street Journal, the U.S. is preparing in the coming days to board and seize Iran-linked tankers and commercial ships in the international waters, according to U.S. officials. Again. And we can see them here running, it looks like they're running practice missions, as they've been doing all week, I believe, to get ready for this. So, it was stated that Eric Daughtry, Trump just surged to the Situation Room. President Trump convened in a Situation Room meeting at the White House this morning on the Strait of Hormuz after Iran reportedly fired on tankers. Axios reports. We know now that it's confirmed. Trump is barreling toward a final deal, but if Iran plays more games, severe FAFO is awaiting them, and we know what that means. Remember, Iran always plays tough guy, but eventually caves, because Donald Trump is the president. They better watch what they're doing. They better watch what they're doing. And here's the Apache AH-64s. They're gunships, man. They mean business. They certainly do. They have been spotted over the Strait of Hormuz. Barack David This is who he says was in the Situation Room meeting. President Trump, obviously, Vice President Vance, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, who's been getting quite a bit of airtime lately. I think it was 50% tariffs on banks that are handling Iranian money. White House Chief of Staff Susie Willis, White House Envoy Steve Witkoff, CIA Director John Ratliff, and Joint Chiefs Chairman Dan Kane. Dan Raisin Kane, I might add. President Trump convened a White House Situation Room meeting on Saturday morning to discuss the renewed crisis around the Strait of Hormuz and negotiations with Iran, according to the U.S. officials. My story on Axios. So, from the very beginning of this ceasefire, it took Iran forever and a day to stop firing, number one. Number two, they tried to fire They sent out a one-way drone when our ships basically just ran through the Strait of Hormuz like they owned it. And they did, and they do. But we took care of that one-way attack drone. And the policyholders there, the parliament there, I think it's called in Iran, they said that we're going to open it. And now the IRGC is saying we're not. So we have faction here, faction there. So, I mean, what do you got to do at this point? I don't see this ceasefire lasting much longer. I think they have until Tuesday, and I just don't think it's going to quite make it. I really don't. I think tonight's going to be a huge escalation. And, they're out there, and you either stopped or you get stopped, because those Apaches mean business. They certainly do. This just isn't about ships anymore. This is about the control of global energy. And who's willing to fight for it harder. Because right now, I don't know what Iran has left to do, minus some probably missiles they may have dug up. They did get some radar defense, I think, from China. I just don't understand why Iran thinks that they're going to come to this and win. I think they threatened to blow our ships up again. They do have those speedboats, but they're not really. They're not a match for an Arleigh Burke class destroyer. I can promise you that. They're not a match for a Raptor or an F-35. They're way outdated. They can go fast, and that's about it. But they're not going to go as fast as a cruise missile. I'm telling you that right now. They won't even know if a submarine launches on them. So we still have all of our assets there, and on top of that, the third aircraft carrier has shown up from what I was reading. So we have enough firepower there to just do what we want to do. And there are still planes coming in hot and heavy with more of whatever they're bringing. And I think we're probably going to find that out, and Iran's going to find out in a real hot second if they keep messing around. Trump, I think, is just about at the end of his word, or end of his his patience. He's tried to be good about this and bargain in good faith several times. He give him 10 days before, and then he'd give him 2 weeks, and then on and on and on. And Iran, that's all they do. They've done it forever. Give us a little more time. Give us a little more time. How about a ceasefire? On and on and on. And all they want to do is play this out and keep going and going and going. They get demolished, obliterated, according to Trump. And they're using this time to dig out the missiles that we blew up down underground. So they're going to dig them out and go in there. And Pete Hegseth said it in a briefing that he had on there. We can see what you're doing. You're bringing out the missiles that we blew up and caved in on you, and we can see you moving them. That's fine, but you have no way to replenish them. That's your problem. And that's the truth. We do. We have plenty of them to replenish with. And we can do it continuously, day and night, 24/7, whenever we want. They had air defense radars before, and we went through there and blew them up one by one and created a nice little alley for us to go in there and take care of the rest of them. It's not going to be that hard, especially when they don't have the money to buy a bunch of them. $400 million a day they are losing. This is about global economy. When you take away oil, that cripples pretty much everybody, minus people like the United States of America, who are pretty much oil independent, gas independent. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, here we are, back at it. So, we will see what happens the rest of the night with any new additions and, and intel that they may want to leak out to us. Any more exciting news that happens, I will do my best to keep you apprised of the situation. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, share. I would greatly appreciate it. And with that, I am out.